Well, we're back here on the septic. We have to start running the electrical now that we've got all the plumbing done for the system. Now we're on to doing the electrical for it. Not overly complex, but it's taking me a bit of time to try and figure it out. Overall, I need. Let's go over here and we'll check it out. So I've got. I don't know if you can see this or not. I've got two wires. I've got a float. This is for the alarm that'll go on the house. And this is for the float that operates the pump. So the pump and this wire need to be connected to 12-2 wire. And that is going to be run directly to the box. And then the other one is 14-2 wire, and that goes to the alarm for the septic system. So one of the first things I have to do is I have to install the splitter box into the tank, or into the upright. It'll be that upright right there where the wires and the pump are at. I went ahead and I forgot to film it, but I went ahead and put in the grommet that needs to go in there. As you can see right here, there's a rubber grommet. I had to cut all this out and put that grommet in. That will allow the back end of the splitter box to go into that hole, and then we'll connect all of our 3/4 inch pipe that'll feed to the fuse panel. All right, now that I've got the splicer box in there, I don't know if you can see this or not. I got it through there. Now I'm going to attach this as a 1-inch coupler with a 3/4 inch reducer. I'm going to put this on the side of that. That'll lock that in permanently. So that box won't move out of there at all. Well, I have most of the electrical plumbing in. I still have to move it from over there by the trench where I finished there to this side of the house where the electrical panel's at. What I'm going to be installing is this Tank Alert XT from AAG Rhombus. This is the Tank Alert, and so this will be a 12 or 14-2 wire that runs to the sensor, and we'll do the configuration on this once I get it up there. But I want to get it mounted, and then we'll plumb all of our electrical conduit up to this. All right, well, we've got that up there. Now we'll finish running all of our pipe up to here. We're going to be running all of our controls out of this side of the panel for this and for the actual system itself. Well, we're down to the part where we're getting ready to pull some wire. We got to pull string through. My assistant here is doing her job of electrical engineer and pulling string while I'm pulling pushing the line through at the first pump. So we're just going to get the electrical in. This is a little bit of a fight for us. Those two wires are pretty thick and there's quite a few bends in this pipe, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Anyway, we'll get on with it. Ready? All right, ready? You better grip lower because you're not going to get much pull out of that one. So I'm getting ready to wire up this Tank Alert XT by SJE Rhombus. There's not a lot on the internet about it, so I thought I would just kind of show you this as part of this. If you're looking to install one of these, it seems pretty simple. The bottom one you have or the top one you have the float, 2 wires from the float, which is going to be these wires right here, and then this is the power in 120 volt from my power panel. So that will go down to the bottom here. But it's pretty easy to set up. Again, you have the one line that comes from the alarm float at the tank going to this control alarm here. All right, there we go. We have it wired up. We got to get power, and then we'll test everything once we get all the power to everything else. So in order to do our septic test, we need water because they've got to be able to pump from this front tank, and it's got to do what's called a spit test, which it has to shoot water 7 feet in the air along the entire leach field to make sure that works. But our problem out here is that we do not have the well connected and we have no water source out here. So that is a tricky situation. However, got to owe it to the guys over at Westland Seed in Ronan. Dave really came through, and Richard in getting a truck filled with water, and they're going to be out here shortly to fill this reverse big tank in the rear with water, and that way I've got it for storage, and then I can always just pump it forward into this front tank when I'm ready for my test. But they really came through in a pinch. That was something I've been trying to figure out for days on how I was going to do that, and trying to rush to see about getting the well system up, which I'm not really ready to do yet, but these guys will really come through. So hopefully they'll be here soon with the water truck and we'll get to pumping water. All right, so now we have water for our test. That is pretty awesome. That's like I said, that was a big concern for a while here, is how to figure out we're going to do that, especially since the well and all that pump setup is not set up. I wasn't looking forward to trying to rush that to figure this out. So again, Westland Seed really came through. Thanks to Dave and Tamara for setting that up and making sure it got done in one day. That was pretty incredible. I can't tell you how grateful I am for the whole thing. So we'll continue on and continue moving closer towards our septic test. Well, that was a considerable amount of work to get that wire pulled from the septic tank to this alarm, and then from the alarm to the box. But we have that wire pulled. Now I just need to identify which wire is what, and also I've got to hook up the two breakers, and then the control box here, and then on the other end we still have the electronics or the cables to hook up to the pump and to the float switches. So we'll get to that next. Oh, we've got our two breakers installed. The top one is for the pump, and the bottom one is for the actual alarm. So when we turn this on, we have our alarm all set up we still have to wire it at the float, but we can at least test it. Which is really good news. That means that the pump alarm and all that is wired correctly, and I have it temporarily set up on the float for the alarm, and that seems to all be working. Now we just need to go to the upright there and wire everything into that box, and we should be ready to go with the electrical. That's pretty good news. Like I said, I'm not a professional electrician by any means, and so I learn as I'm learning as I'm going, but we're slowly figuring this out. Now that we've got power to the house, we have power to all the peripheral stuff as we go as well. So it's good news. We'll go and wire up the box at the riser. Well, we have everything wired together, from the switches to the power to the pump, and now we'll go ahead and button this up, and then we will be done with the electrical on this end. Aren't you glad you went to college?
Huh?
I said, aren't you glad you went to college?
Yeah. That degree paid off.
So one thing we have to do is we're going to do our first water test here, but we got to transfer from this tank here to the first tank all the water that was brought out here by Westland Seed. Again, we're pretty grateful for their help with that, but we're going to do our pump over, and then we'll do our first water test and see how that works out. I got my handy helper here to help with the pumping. All right, so here we go. We're going to give it our first pump test and see how this works out. So we'll see here. All right, you ready?
I hear it. Yep. Yep. As high as the banks. Yep. So far. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. We have a successful water test. That means the pumps and the floats are all working. That's a big relief to have that done. And we had a couple of pipe blowouts because they're not glued together, so we'll have to jam those pipes together for the test. But now we just wait a few more days. We have our septic test with the county and the designer on Wednesday at 10 a.m. So stand by, and we'll check back in with the actual septic test.
Woohoo!
Well, we're here this morning, bright and early. We did another pre-test on the system. That way, I've got some water in the pipes. But today is our inspection day with the county. They should be out here in a little while, and we will see how this worked out. My fingers crossed that I followed all their directions and the designer's specifications to the T, and hopefully we'll pass this thing. But you know, like every big project here, I'm ultra nervous about it, like I was with the electrical and the cement and a bunch of other big projects, because you know, fixes are not cheap to do this when when it comes to groundwork. But I've got pretty high confidence, and we will just keep our fingers crossed and see how this test goes. We'll either pass or we won't. And if we don't pass, we'll fix the mistakes and move on. But we'll wait here for everybody to get here, and we'll get on with our test. Well, the good news is we did pass our septic test with the county. That was great. All in all, Colleen had to be here because she's the one who was certified for the installation and took the test for the county, which was huge. And I just did the labor to install it, but we managed to get it in. Any thoughts?
No, I think you did a really good job. I don't know if I could ever follow the diagram and instructions to that extent, so I'm glad it wasn't me. But you did really well.
Well, thanks.
Yep.
Well, there you have it. We have our septic system installed. Now it's time to put in, we had to put in 2 inches of gravel over the top of the pipes, glue everything together, put 2 inches of gravel over the pipes, and then some fabric, landscape fabric, and then our backfill. So we will get busy on that, getting all this backfilled and done in.
And that was the last of all the inspections that we need to have done.
Right on.
So we can sleep at night now.
Right on. Now that we're past the septic inspection, I have to go through with all these lateral pipes. Since they are not glued together, I have to glue them together and then rotate the pipe 180 degrees to where the spouts turn downward, and then we'll be done with that. And then we're gonna put 2 inches of rock over this landscape fabric, and then start filling her all in. So we'll get busy with that section right now. Well, with the amount of dust that's being kicked up as I backfill, I think I'm just going to go ahead and glue these pipes. I'll get them all glued, and then I'll go with the rock and everything else that we need to go with. So I went ahead and got everything glued in. I didn't bother to do it trench by trench. I just figured I'd get it all done. That way all the lateral PVC is glued into place and ready to go. Now I have to add in 2 inches of rock on top of this, and then we'll be good. So we'll start with that, and we'll start with this trench over here. And my goal is to get the rock in, put the fabric down, and then fill that one. Then I have to skip, so I have access to be able to dump rock in these, because I can't do it unless I start filling in trenches and working this way with it. Otherwise, there's no way to get this done. So we'll get started with putting in some rock. It's been a long day, but we'll just keep at it. Oh, there you go. I've got the first of 4 lines all glued in from the top of the 2-inch pipe here all the way down to the 45 end there. So this line is done. I now have 3 more to go. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do these trench by trench, or because I'm thinking it would be easier to do it that way. Just do it like this, put the 2-inch rock in, put the landscape fabric in over the top of it, and then backfill. Or should I just go ahead and get all the lines? I'll give that some thought here, and then we'll proceed. Well, there you have it. We got these, everything buried in here as far as the septic tank goes, and the leach field is all completed as well. I got all that buried, and now we are finally done with our septic project. That was a huge deal. We got our septic test passed, and so we are good to go on as far as septic and plumbing goes. Like I said, that's a huge project off our list, and now we'll move on to some other stuff. But thanks for watching, and staying tuned as we go with this. And if you have any comments, please leave them below. If you like this type of thing, please remember to like and subscribe. I certainly do appreciate it. Anyway, thanks for watching.